Come, let me get you some.
Yo, 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 how's it going? The Mundo in the house, and this is Saber Talk Sunday. And let's not forget, today is also Father's Day for those
Happy
of
Father's
you
Day,
who are in the
everybody.
room.
And,
Let's see here. Hold
and to
on.
all the dads out
Woo!
there, if you have a
There we
lightsaber,
go.
do not be slicing off your kids' limbs. That is not good parenting.
Charlie, have a good workout, my friend. I know you'll be listening in the background. And so is Felicia, man. Felicia texted me earlier today or even last night, and she was telling me that she thought a cool topic for the show would be, what do you want to get out of this hobby? And I was thinking, and I told her, I said, man, that's a great topic to talk about in the lightsaber community and for the talk show. Um, and so, before we really get started out there, though, I hope everybody who is a father out there has a great, Father's Day. And we also need to acknowledge that the women who have to play the father role as well. Either they're a single mother and, they have to play the fatherly role as well. So I want to acknowledge all of those ladies that have to play the dual role as well. And again, on Mother's Day, we said the same thing where the role reversal was that, something may have happened and the father has to play the dual role of both the mother and the father. So, kudos to those people that have to do that. And with that, I hope everybody, like I said, had a great Father's Day. I had a great one. Um, I got a brand new Star Wars cup, man. I really love it. Yeah, man.
Awesome.
It's a little frosty right now from all the all the water, the condensation from it, man. But yeah, dude.
That's cool, man.
My wife got me a pretty cool cup, and I'm all like, "What?" So I got me a second coffee cup. I have one like that, but a little bit different, more of the dark side stuff on it. And that one I have at work for my coffee, man. So this one is going to be the at-home coffee cup. And she also got me a shirt, and I will show that at a later time. Right now, I don't want to show it because I don't want it to get dirty here in the garage. So if that makes sense, man. But that, Felicia had such a great idea for the topic, and what is it that you want out of the hobby? Are you wanting to be a collector? Um, are you wanting to do a business out of it? Are you wanting to just have shelf queens on there? Again, you go to the collector side of it. Uh, or is there otherwise where you want to do both? Maybe invest in things because of the collection value of things, or do you want to be a tinkerer where you build your own stuff and tinker with things? I mean, there's so many possibilities in this hobby that you can get so much out of it and not only discover certain things but discover something of yourself as well. I myself have personally discovered that even though I can do things slowly, I am learning to do things with the help of others. I am learning to have more confidence in myself as well, because when you accomplish things, let's say you accomplish wiring, you accomplish learning to soldier better, you accomplish to learn putting everything together and have that sense of accomplishment when you finally complete that saber of your dreams. Maybe you saved up your money and you bought your first saber and you enjoy it so much. So there's so many things in this hobby that could pertain to what you really want out of it. And that's what we're going to get to tonight's topic, man. I think it's going to be so fun to get into, man. Barris, James, what is it? Well, James, we know what I mean, you went in for sound fonts and everything else, man. Everything else above it, man. So
Yeah,
you're going
think I'm
above and
I think
beyond.
I'm a pretty open book when it comes to stuff like the things that you see me do online and all that stuff. But yeah, I like I like all aspects of it, man. So I'm into everything. I'm into building, designing, sound, creativity via videos. You know how I love videos, all my intros. I love just doing. I just love.
Hmm.
I like. I like it. I love seeing other people do it too. I don't know if I wasn't really the first that started putting out videos of all stuff. A lot of people do it, but it's great.
Hmm.
It's a lot of fun. I just love doing everything. Building, printing, install, sound fonts. You name it. I mean, it's all part of it. Um,
So
and
all the above is what
help
you get
too.
out of it.
Well, being able to help a lot of people too, I think it's almost at this point 50% now, because it's like I've got more, obviously more experience under my belt, and I can get things, to where they should be, most of the time. Hey, I'm
Hmm.
still learning too, but like I said, I just love to dabble in everything. It's great.
I think there's a common denominator there that you're never going to stop learning things. You're never going to stop
No,
learning something new about the hobby, no matter what it is, because
right.
you have so many updates coming up. You have so much new technology coming up. Then you also have um, the different creators that come up with the different kinds of hilts, the new hilts that come out and everything else, right?
Sure.
So there like I said, there's so many aspects of what somebody wants to get out of this, whether it be very little or a tremendous amount. It's all up to that person what they want out of it. I want to get to the bottom of everybody here on what they want to get out of it, right? And
Mhm.
then James, I mean, you've done such a wonderful job of explaining how you like to help people, how you do the sound fonts and everything else on top of that. And so that not only do you produce some great creativity that comes out, but some excellent sound fonts, sound engineering. I mean, just so many things, right?
Yeah.
Barris, let's get to your thoughts on your stuff and what is it that are you looking for the collectability of the hobby, or what is your take on what you want out of this hobby?
Well, I mean, I would say to answer that question, I'd have to start with the first lightsabers I ever got. The first lightsabers I ever got, which I have, spoken about over, the Facebook uh, posts, over the channel, and even on, on my Instagram, is that I first got my first lightsaber as a Hanukkah gift from my grandparents. It was the master replicas hilts that I've shown off.
Mm-hmm.
Um, then when I was in high school, the first like collectible lightsaber, like the closest thing that I thought was the actual legit thing, was actually an Ultra Sabers Bellicose. Their
Mm-hmm.
take on the Star Killer V Force Unleashed 2 hilt, and I got it as a silver colored, a silver matrix with blade with color discs. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and basically throughout that time, as well as during college, I collected different lightsabers, such as the Raven, their take on the Darth Star Killer, Luke's ROTJs, their version. But then around the time COVID happened, I was I was on Instagram and I saw something. I saw a ad for Damien sabers. Yeah, I know, and that's how I learned about what NeoPixel lightsabers are, and
Mm.
how. And I did some research. I did some comparison looks, and I just realized, oh my god, I just wasted my high school years and early and college years hitting on the wrong type of lightsaber. Although, look, credit is due where Ultra Sabers was. Their tech was good for what it was in the late 2000s, early 2010s, but with NeoPixel, it was a game changer. So when I
I
got
agree.
after I graduated college and I moved back home, I uh, found a buyer, found buyers to sell my Ultra Sabers lightsabers to. And my first like close to NeoPixel lightsaber was actually the Asajj Ventress Hill, the original one that was used in the Dark Disciples novel. And with that one, I had some issues involving the core and trying to convert it and trying to undo it, and because there isn't a disassembly video for that at the time, so I ended up selling it for scrap, and I basically saved up for what would eventually be my first few lightsabers, which I started then collecting the Eco Elite models of Balin Skull and Shin Hati's lightsabers. And then last year was when I kicked the hobby into high gear. I got the LGT version of Obi-Wan Kenobi's Episode 4 saber, the V1 version of Nexus's Darth Maul staff, and from there, as well as getting the X-Tech version of Cal Kestis's lightsaber, Sifo Dyas's lightsaber, and just so on and so forth. And basically, and since then, it's basically spiraled into a hobby, but also an obsession. Which, suffice to say, I get plenty of grief from my siblings and my parents for it.
So you're heavy on the collecting side of it. Basically.
Collecting, yes, but also if I have the chance to modify it, definitely. Like, for example, I plan on trading in my Kenobi ANH to a friend who is willing to hook me up with the Anakin Starkiller TXQ version of it. Now, and here's the thing. I've also been looking at some of the I know that TXQ made two versions of the made a version of the ANH hilt that has the regular clamp, but also the longer clamp that was used that would eventually become the stunt saber for Luke's Return of the Jedi hilt. So I'm wondering whether or not I can get that clamp as well, so I can like swap it out anytime.
Now, one of the things that I've actually noticed within the hobby too, and it's caused a lot of drama. And I'm not going to start any drama or anything like that, but you do have some of the purists, right, who enjoy the screen accuracy, enjoy the accuracy of the hilt.
Yes.
And then there are others who have the that they're okay with the slightly accurate type of hilt, right? It's not completely screen accurate. It's not completely accurate by no means. It's pretty close to it.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. There are definitely those out there that want the most accurate type of lightsabers, and there are a lot of companies out there. I mean, we know KR Sabers is definitely one of those out there that make like the best out there. Anakin Starkiller from At Star's End, who submits his designs to TXQ and they manufacture for him. His are great. John Santos from Collector's Outpost, he made a video, an interview with him, basically comparing the TXQ version with the one that Starkiller has, and it's like one for one. They're both right there. I mean, in my case, when I got my Obi-Wan Kenobi ANH hilt from Nexus, which I bought off of AliExpress as an empty, I got it installed, but then I sent it off to Todd Shea of Lucky Sabers out in California, and he gave me the option, and he was able to weather it. And even though Nexus is not exactly one-for-one replica, this weathering job is like a passable prop, basically. Like if I was like, I'm going to be showing it to Roger Christian next weekend, and I'm going to ask him, I'm going to ask him, do you think this is an actual prop? Like I'm going to ask the OG, the guy who created this hilt, and and I'm going to say, oh no, this is one of those ones made in China. It's like, really? The weathering is amazing. I'm going to trust him on that, because
never know.
Getting the affirmation of that from the original guy who created the lightsaber, that's that is something I think a collector, no matter if you're a purist or you're just okay with a hilt, getting that kind of affirmation is all the world over.
And maybe get it
No,
signed.
Oh no 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 no
right?
no
If
no
you
no
get it signed, that
no,
exponentially changes
Or a
things.
card.
no. I don't have a
Plaque.
card because the guy I mean there I don't have a signing plaque because what I will do is get a picture with him
That's
holding it.
great.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
look, a signature
That's
is
worth a
fine,
lot.
but I'm not going to get signatures with that because there's only so much. Like I'll probably get a picture and signature from Vivian Blair because I have Carrie Fisher, Princess Leia slave outfit, but having
Nice.
2 Leias with 2 signatures,
Do it.
that's a lot,
I mean, some of the signatures
As
out
many
there, I
as you
think,
could.
my goodness, some of them are a little pricey, man. I'm all like, dude, it's only. I mean, I
I've
get you're
got
famous, and I get who you are, but I mean, I'm sorry. I would rather pick a $400 saber over a $300 signature.
no, I totally agree.
mean,
And
I'm sorry.
here's the thing. There was a controversy a couple months ago where people were getting autographs from Mark Hamill for like $200, and I mean, I would tell him, I would say to him, sir, an autograph from you would be amazing, but an autographs and signatures with technology nowadays, they can be replicated. A picture,
Oh, sure.
a picture with you, sir, means so much more than
Yeah.
any signature ever will.
Well, even some of the
absolutely.
like I was on some of the websites and stuff, and I was like, oh my God, some of the celebrities that I thought just to get a picture with them, a selfie with them on your phone is like $250, or
Yeah,
even just
that's not.
a hundred,
See, that's why.
$150.
See, that is why I have.
Yeah.
I know this is probably going to be watched again and again. So kids, do not try this at home. Have a friend of yours be somewhere off in the distance and get paparazzi shots of you with him. Yeah, it's kind of deceitful, and you're kind of, but honestly, it really all depends on your moral perspective of it.
Well, it also depends on the moral perspective of that person, because I tell you, um, when I did a sword experience with Adrian Paul, I mean the dude is fantastic, man. He is a great person to if you ever get a chance, go do a sword experience with him. I've got a friend of mine that she has done over 60 plus sword experiences with him, and he is one of the coolest celebs you'll ever meet and
No, of course,
everything,
if you're
man.
doing a sword experience or
And
an active thing with a celebrity, obviously you got to pay. I mean, doing
yeah,
something.
well, yeah, but the whole experience is like the top tier part of it is $200, but you get a boken, you get a signature, you get a selfie, you get
Yeah,
a buttload
that
of
works.
things. You
Yeah,
get your money's worth of stuff when you do the experience. I mean, it's not like, oh, just a signature and a selfie, or just a signature itself for 100 and something dollars. You're getting all of that plus an experience. You get to do a workout with the Highlander himself. You get to do picture scenes that you do the choreography. He sets the choreography. You learn the choreography. You do the choreography. He films it and puts it out on YouTube. As a matter of fact, you can see me on the Laredo and the Corpus Christi one. I mean, very briefly, but yeah, you can see me on those two experiences on there.
yeah.
And again, my friend Priscilla, she who lives in Seguin, by the way, she's done the experience like 65 plus times, man. If she can do it, she's gonna do 100 experiences with him. And I mean, he does cameos and everything for her personally,
Um,
And like I said, but it depends on that artist of what they're charging. And sometimes I believe that it may not even be the artists themselves. I think it might be their agencies and the places that they go, the con places that charge all of this extra stuff for them, right? So um, it's up to them what they want to charge. I mean, of course, then again, you have some that want to charge a buku some money because they think they're all that. But
yeah, but
I just assume buy a saber than to be with somebody like that. You know?
yeah, definitely. I'm actually looking at where is that website? Okay, where is it? Okay, Metropolicon. So I'm looking at the photo ops, and yeah. By the way, if you're ever going to do if I were you, when it comes to photo ops, um, unless you want the autograph and whatnot, avoid the photo ops and just go for like a just this just a selfie or a picture on your phone. But let's see. So let's see. Autograph, selfie. So let's see. So the combo. So autographs with Daniel Logan are $60. Selfies are $60.
You see,
And
that's a good price. That I think is a comparable price right there. I think
yeah.
that's a I think that's an honest good price right
Oh,
there.
here's something that's awesome. Autograph and self for Roger Christian, the guy who created the lightsaber and the and also did the uh and also created Han Solo's blaster and the Millennium Falcon and R2D2. You get an autograph and the selfie is included with the picture.
Yeah. For how
So
much?
Yeah.
60?
for $40.
40. That is a great value
That
right
is
there. That is
an
an awesome
awesome
value.
price. So you know
For
what?
for somebody, I tell you, for somebody who goes and does not take advantage of that, they don't know who he really is.
Well, I mean, he gets
That's.
probably gets royalties. I mean, he directed the second unit on Return of the Jedi and the Phantom Menace, and he also
Well, no,
directed
but
you know.
yeah, but I'm saying for the value of what he is giving you, that is a great value. That is a great offer
Yeah.
because, like I said, if somebody does not take advantage of that, they do not know who he really
So
is.
you know what? If that's going to be the case, I might just ask him to sign my Kenobi hilt because I'm going to be giving it to transferring it to a friend for the TXQ version.
Hmm.
And like I said, these sort of photos, a photo is worth more in my opinion when it comes to something like this. So
Yeah.
I will definitely ask him to sign it. And which, by the way, what's the advice for when it comes to making sure the signature is preserved?
Mm.
Well, there's different things that you can do for the signature preservation. Don't necessarily use any kind of liquids. I mean, if you really, really want to preserve a signature, I would think the best way to do it is just to get like clear tape and make sure you put it on there, very carefully. And
Clear
that
tape?
and
Well,
clear
tape
tape,
doesn't really work
but
that well for that because it eventually it peels off and it'll peel the signature off. You're going to have to seal
oh
it
yeah,
with some sort of a
some
clear. Yeah, tape is not going to work. You'd have to seal it
okay,
with some sort of a clear sealer that is designed specifically for. Yeah, you also have to make sure that the sealer you use doesn't wipe out the signature
okay.
ink that
See,
you
listen to Ed
gave it to him.
James. Don't listen to me.
Yeah.
So you'll have to get a combination. Make sure that whatever you have him sign it with and whatever clear substance you use to cover it with doesn't break it up. In other words, like
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
didn't want you
listen
wouldn't
to
want to use
James.
like
James knows more than I
Sharpie
do.
a Sharpie and a magic marker, or like, two different things. Like a Sharpie's more permanent. You may be able to, I think that would be a best choice, but not the very big, thick markers, but just enough for a signature. And then you could actually clear coat that, with, I would not use nail polish. I would use some sort of like a satin finish or something that can at least maintain it for a while.
Or
keep it in a case and don't touch it.
Yeah,
I think that probably would be the best situation is keep it in a case.
Yeah,
don't touch it. Don't use it.
I honestly feel like in that case, I really should talk with the cosplay group I'm a part of, because we have a cosplay repair kit, and I think we should have something like that on site when we have our booths up. But if what you're saying is legit, I mean, here on, let me go grab the hilt real quick.
Now, okay, well, while you're doing that, let's kind of get into the tinker part of it that people are going to get out of this hobby. James, when you first started tinkering with things, taking things apart, putting things together, what was that feeling like? Did you get to that point where you're like, oh my God, that works? And then, or you got to a point where it was like a happy accident, like, damn, that actually worked? Damn, I'm gonna keep doing that one, right? So, if you get into the tinker part of it, the sense of accomplishment that you get out of it, is exponential compared to completing a saber as well, because when you get to a certain point in building something, you want to get to doing the next level, like you're doing with the C3PO head, what you're doing with other droids, with your the hand with the light, the kyber crystal in the hand, so things like that. Oh, I'm saving up for one, man. I'm saving up for one. So.
I want to put them on. I'm going to put them on my site. So, I'm going to try and put them up on my site so that I would be able to offer them, because I keep forgetting to do it, and I meant to do it. But they're great as little additions, so much. Yeah.
I want to get both of them and have them together eventually back here somewhere, along with the Death Star.
Yeah, I have to create the package, because the package is, the Vader one is actually my hand in the glove mold. So there's really cool things that I could do, like, have his little, I can change the position in the mold. So, but have the crystal, I can even have it holding out like this. So there's all different kinds of things. I'll probably put something together for that. But yeah, like tinkering is great, man. I mean, that's how I got more into this field. I mean, I've always been a tinkerer since I was, 6 years old. So I've, been doing music since I was 12. So there's always, I was always involved in electronics, automotive, all kinds of things, design, engineer, computers, you name it. I've been down at least one of those roads, and it stuck with me. So I'm just, I'm thankful that I could do all these things and retain all of these things, because it's, it just makes it that much easier for me in my position, to help people and to get, more installs done, and to accomplish more, so it's great.
Yeah,
that's amazing. And I think there is a common denominator that quite a few people have gone down the engineer road, whether it be music, sound, or electronics and stuff like that. I myself have not been down any of those roads. I am coming into the hobby as a complete idiot when it comes to things. Like I'm the kind of person that wrote the lightsaber book for dummies bit, So,
well, I wouldn't
if I can do
way.
if I can do things,
it's a learning process. So it's not that word shouldn't even enter the category, because that's not the case.
Well, what I'm saying,
you're learning, so it's that it's
that's what I'm getting at. That's what I'm getting at, James. Yeah. I think people might take that context a little too literally, like you said.
Well,
but
I mean, it's not. because a lot of people don't have the skills, you know, and a lot of people are learning like you and myself still,
Right.
and everybody else that's in the field. I mean, you know, the constant every day we're learning something, you know, whether it be from
Hmm.
somebody else and say, hey, I should try that, you know, okay, let's do it, you know, and collaborations are great. So, you know, but I don't think it's that point of view. I think it's just learning experience, you know, and it's never a dummy situation when you learn something, you know. It's
Yeah,
always a
well, that's the
positive
thing.
experience, you
It
know.
is. It is a positive experience. I'm just saying, for the context that,
Yeah.
I guess I guess that was a kind of a bad joke in my instance because,
Well, no, no, I understood what
you
you
have
mean, but yeah,
you
I
have all
understood
these
what you mean.
books like, like Word for Dummies and stuff like that. So I was just kind of
Oh yeah,
poking
yeah, I
fun
get it. I
at
get it. I
at
get it.
those books at my
Oh yeah,
expense, right?
those books are
Because
really good,
the
by the
way
way. You know.
because the way I see things is I can't poke fun at anybody if I don't poke fun at myself. You know what I mean?
Oh, I know. Of course, absolutely.
So I have to start with myself
Well,
before
my
I
point
can
was
poke fun at somebody
don't
else.
ever feel bad about trying stuff. You know, my point is, you know,
No,
it's not a oh my god, I'm like I can't think anymore. I'm like stupid or I'm a dummy or I'm like, you know, never always try to get an answer. If you can at least get one
exactly.
answer from someone and it's the correct one, hopefully, you know, or in the vicinity of, then you're in the right direction, you know, of
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole point of it. And the reason why I'm gonna go back to saying that is because in my line of work, our motto is never say I don't know. Always say
yeah, yeah,
let me find out. Let me find
right.
out for you. Even if you don't know it, you go and ask somebody or you find out what the answer is, and then you can give your answer to that, right?
Yeah, well, it's always a
So
positive step, sure.
yeah, definitely, for sure. I mean, and the thing is that if I can do this, other people can do this too.
Yeah.
And it may take a little bit of time, and it may be a small amount of frustration, but you're gonna get past it, and you're gonna get things done. You're gonna achieve your goals, and you're gonna get where you
Yeah.
want to be within this hobby, and you're gonna get out of it what you put into it. If you put in a little bit of work, you're going to get a little bit out of it. If you're going to put a lot of work into it, you're going to get a lot out of it. Look at that. Oh my God. I got to see this.
Yeah. It's
I
my
have cut
3D
this.
printed. All right, this is the 3D printed katana I was talking about
Very
that I
nice.
that I that I
Oh
made.
man.
And this is just the sheath that, you know, we got a long
Oh
time
yeah,
ago.
the
You guys
LVP
remember
type.
these?
Wow, very
Right,
Yeah, yeah,
right.
these are cool. But I have the blade in there, of course, right? But I made this because I have the stock wireless system in here because I couldn't penetrate metal very well. That's why I needed the
Uh-huh.
whole body to be plastic. So it's really, really cool, man.
Oh,
So I'm gonna,
it
yeah. I mean,
looks
I think
great.
I'm gonna show it. I'm gonna show it in the video and stuff like that. When I do that, this has that sound font on it, by the way, of the
Uh-huh.
sword. So it's probably
Ooh.
not gonna be able to. Oh yeah, it's crazy, man. Wait till you hear this.
Bing. Oh,
Yeah.
look at that. Jeez, look at that. Oh my God.
Oh, that is.
Oh
I
my
originally
God.
Teeth, man.
so when I
He
first
loves those things.
Woo!
one of the things
That looks great, dude.
when I
Yeah,
started
That looks
this is
great.
full camera brightness, man. So it's
oh
pretty
my
sweet.
god.
Oh wow. Oh my God. Look at
This is
that.
my quad. This is a quad blade that I got a while ago. It's
Oh
not
my
a Samurai
god.
Sabers one, but it's from one of the other companies, I think.
When I started
It
collecting
sounds good.
recollecting lightsabers, I actually got a katana from Saberforge, and I got the Ronin scabbard from a 3D printer on Etsy.
Oh yeah.
It
Yeah.
didn't work out, but I mean, and this was all before those came out. So yeah.
I was so happy to see this is another step in the direction of, like, you know, you could do just about anything if you put your mind to it. Like, you know, 3D printing for me was, I was on the very first machines, a vendor, and all that stuff, and then you just progress and progress and progress. And now that finally the technology is available, which is great, and if most people can grab a machine or something that does the work, basically, you can
Yeah.
design and sit there and do all these things. It's awesome, man. I love this stuff. So this
Yeah.
is going to
And
be on that. This is going to be for the sound font video. So I'm going to actually be outside, and I'm going to have this all
Nice.
hooked up directly to the phone. And I mean, to the camera, whichever I use. I don't know what I'm going to use yet, but
that'd
it's
be
all going to be
fantastic.
direct. So it's going to be
Yeah.
specified that's direct, and you'll hear
So
everything. So it's
I
pretty
think
cool.
I might know of a way where I'm also going to try and get my Graphics signed by Roger Christian, and I'm looking at where I can put this, where the signature can be put, so that it's not so that it won't, so when I'm holding it, it won't get interfered. I'm thinking
Yeah.
either along here, if he can sign that small, or along the sides backs here, because with this saber, you don't usually, you hold down here and down here. You don't hold up here. So ultimately, as long as you're not touching where the signature is, that is the big goal on it.
Man, if I
Mm,
got a signature on one of those,
ultimately,
I'd put it in the case and not pick it up. Well,
Well,
I'd pick it up where I could turn it on without messing anything up, and then
well,
put it back in
well,
its
it's a good thing
case.
that there's no auxiliary switch. This isn't an auxiliary switch. It's all just right here. So that's why.
that's cool.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, this is going.
Mo, oh,
Right.
let me address this real quick. Mo, just because you're new to the hobby, you do have something to contribute, man.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I try to address within the show is that even though you're new to the hobby, you may not think you have anything to offer, but when you're starting out and everything like that, your contributions can be what you've gone through, what you've done, what hurdles you've had to overcome, and tell somebody, hey, I did this with my let's say you had your new saber that you made, right? Okay. Like one of your hurdles was, oh man, I didn't want to redesign my hilt because it looks like the scrap flex or it looks like the grap flex, and who do I get? No. See, that's the beauty of things. You, no matter where you're at within this hobby, everybody has something to contribute, whether they have a hurdle that they're going over at this point in time, whether they're just starting out and say, hey, look, I'm brand new, what can you tell me that I need to know? You are contributing to things. It doesn't mean that you can't contribute because you're just starting out. When you have people that if you go to forums and you say, hey, I went to these forums to look for this answer, but I couldn't find this answer. But I went to this other guy over here and he let me know this is my answer to this problem that I have. And you let people know that you are contributing. You are contributing to the hobby. You are contributing to the community, even though you are um,
Yeah.
a beginner, and again, even though and take this with a grain of salt and wholeheartedly, dude. I've been working on things off and on for years. I've only completed, maybe three sabers at most, simply due to my schedule of work and everything else in between. I get about 30 minutes to an hour to work on something. Okay. Now, I tell you, I could pump these out if I had a lot more time to do things, but unfortunately I don't have that kind of time just yet, and I will. Eventually, I will. And eventually, what I'm going to do is to shift my focus when I start really working on on these hilts exponentially and working, and then I feel comfortable enough showing my skills onto the camera. I eventually I will shift my work onto the camera itself while we're doing the show. and people can critique me all they want. You can say, hey, oh dude, your soldering joints are cold, man. Change them. Okay, I'll change them. Or hey, Mundo, great
Mm.
joint, dude. You did good on that. Hey, cool. I'm gonna learn from people's perspectives on. But I've also got to make sure that I stay true to myself too. I can take advice, but I got to do what I feel comfortable with, right?
Yeah.
Even though people will
Yeah.
tell me things, you have to be true to yourself. You have to do
It's
what's
usually the end
comfortable for
game.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, Mo, 10 years ago, I never thought I would be a co-host with Mundo here. I never thought I would be working with sound font, talking with sound font creators. In fact, the recent sound font that Juan Sitz came out, Lady Lumi, based off of Lady Lumia from EU, I helped with getting that off the ground. In fact, the smooth swing sounds and the sounds like scales, those are actually sounds from the Transformers movies. When they're transforming and whatnot. And
Nice.
I never thought in my wildest dreams I would be able to be a part of such an incredible community. And yeah, there's going to be
right.
drama and there's going to be people that are be like high and mighty superior, but you just gotta let that slide. Cause
Yeah.
And
it,
and
yeah,
not only that, not
It
only
always tends
that,
to go, it's always tends to be karma in those procedures. So, I mean,
yeah,
right.
you never
I
want to
have
do things
no
really.
I have no speaking experience. Like I've never sat and or stood in front of an audience to speak. And when I do the show, I picture hundreds of people in bleachers, in chairs, watching me as I do the show. And it makes me feel comfortable because if ever there's a time where I do a public speaking or something of otherwise, I think I can feel pretty comfortable going up to the podium and talking about this stuff, right?
yeah.
Sure.
Um, and
Well,
and
because it's right
and
off your
I'm
heart.
very yeah, and I'm very confident about talking to people. I can go anywhere and make conversation with anybody at any time. It doesn't matter what it is. But the important thing is that the way I feel within this show, that there's hundreds of people, watching me here and there, and I thank God for that. But in like Barry said, never in my wildest dreams did I ever think about doing the show that Anthony, creator of Civilized Sabers, co-creator, would ever hand me the reins and say, "Hey, Mundo, go for it, do this," because with Anthony and Gabe and Harris, if you go back and you watch their early videos of Saber Talk, right? It's so wonderful to see the three of them, the way they were talking, the passion they have for the art and for the sabers themselves, explaining certain things, showing off certain sabers that they have, and everything else. But what an honor it is to have James and Barris on here with me, and me taking over the reins of the show because Anthony Space Windu trusts me that much to take care of the show for him, and his protege Reese making the blades for him as well. Uh, again, it goes back to what you want to get out of this hobby, and I think the way that I am contributing to this hobby is providing a place for people to come and talk about it, whatever the subject is on Sabers, Star Wars. You have a place that you can come and have fun and talk with us. And if you want to come on the show, hit me up. I'll put you on the show, man. I'll send you the link, and we can have fun like that. And these guys can tell you it's always an invitation. It's never a have to. You do not have to come on the show. Even if I send you a link, you don't have to come on the show. If you can't come on the show, it's understood. If you don't want to come on the show, it's understandable. It's cool. If you come on the chat, it's cool. There is no bias here. It is all in good fun. And I would love to have you on the show. And as a matter of fact, I actually reached out to, do y'all know who Mark Makita is?
No.
Okay. Have you ever watched Forged in Fire?
Wait, is he one of the guys that does that show?
He is one of the guys that does Forged in Fire.
Huh. Okay,
Yes.
I have heard of that show.
He's
Yeah,
he's
they
one of
build
the
and make
judges.
new weapons. That's wow.
He is one of the judges. He's also a martial artist. He is also one of the top Filipino martial artists. You know, the Kali sticks. He also does a lot of Kali videos and stuff. Well, I
Um,
reached out to him, and I haven't got a response yet. And I'm waiting on a response, and I don't know if he will. And if he does, that is awesome. If he doesn't, I understand, right? But I invited him to come onto the show if he can, because he also enjoys lightsabers. So, and when I reached out to him, I said, "Hey, sir, it's my understanding that you enjoy lightsabers as well. I am. My name is Mundo. I do the shows Saber Talk Sunday at 8 p.m. Central Time. And if you'd like to come on, let me know. I'll send you a link."
Yeah.
So maybe he's watching tonight, and hopefully he's watching tonight. I would love to get his opinion on the show if he watches it, so that if he does come on, he can be prepared and say, "Hey, yeah, I think this would be fun to come on." And you know and there's a lot of other guests that I'd like to come and invite, celebrity wise, if possible. I intend to reach out to them, and if they say no, they say no. That's the worst thing that can happen. I am a people person, and I love to talk. We love to talk, and we love to have fun, and that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have fun talking and talk about sabers and what we can get out of the saber community in terms of camaraderie, the love of the Star Wars, the love of the hilts, the love, the all aspects of the lightsaber stuff, and the enjoyment that we get out of it. Now, for those that let's go back to the collector part of this conversation. Um, and James, you got such a great collection behind you, man. I love it. I
yeah,
can't I
my
can't
little
stop
boys and
staring.
girls back there.
Oh,
Yeah, my God.
I just want to say, actually, Mundo. Speaking of collecting lightsabers, so Jesse from of Kyberphonics, he is trying to downsize some of his collection, and if I am posting a link, and basically this comment failed to pass. Mundo, let me post it.
What do you mean?
I just posted it. I tried to post something from the comments.
I didn't do anything, dude. I'm just
Let me try it again.
try it again. I'm not doing anything. I'm
No,
just highlighting comments. That's it.
oh, it won't fail to post to civilized sabers.
That's
Yeah,
weird.
it's oh well. Well, listen. Basically, to all you in the audience, Kyberphonics is downsizing a bunch of his collection, and I bought one of them this last week. It was Vernestra's lightsaber made by LGT. A lot of his sabers sold. Saber Trio, Corbanth, Loretto, but he's still got a few sabers left. He's got Marok's hilt. He's got an Arian by Saber Trio. He's got an Obi Luke original trilogy stunt that's TXQ Profi. The
Oh wow.
Shin Hati's lightsaber, which is another Korbanth. The Princess Leia hilt from Rise of Skywalker, which is a KR saber. It's installed with Profi. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but other than that, and also a dark saber by Korbanth installed with CFX.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, yeah, they're a bit pricey. I mean, considering these are really nice sabers. So whether they're installed or or not installed, they're definitely worth grabbing if you can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I'm like, here's a funny story, man. I am this close. I am this close to getting a 3D printer. My daughter was playing a solitaire game that you can actually win some cash from, right? And she ended up winning me $200. I'm all like, what? No way. She showed me and she put the money in my PayPal. I'm all like, are you kidding me? You won this amount of money? So I'm like $150 short of getting a 3D printer, man. And I'm like, what? I'm like, yes, yes. I'm
That's a
like doing
good one.
backflips in my brain. I'm like doing backflips in my brain because, as I said for the last show, right? I want to feel, I want to feel what others feel after printing when they create their chassis, when they create something in the 3D printer and they bring it to life by printing it. I
That's
want to
crazy cool.
feel that. I want to feel that feeling, right? This is what I'm getting out of this hobby is the feeling that these creators get from bringing it from their brain, from their imagination, from their creativity out into the real world. I want to feel that. And I know others do too, right? And and so you know, if you have to learn things on your own, so be it. It doesn't have to be fast. It doesn't have to be immediate. It's like James and everybody says, what you get out of it, what you put into it, is what you're going to get out of it. And if you're willing to learn and to do these things, you can achieve something great, just as great as these guys will. And one of these days, I'm going to get there. I'm going to say, one of these days, I'm gonna hear somebody say, "Mundo made that." I'm gonna get that because Mundo made it. Just like I'm getting things that James made. I'm getting things that Anthony made. I'm getting things that other people made. You know, I want to feel that, and eventually I'm going to get there. And you will too. Whoever you are out there, you will too. And it's
Yeah.
just a matter of time. If you're willing to put the time and effort into it, you can achieve that. You will get that out of it. Um, Collectors, depending on your budget, right? You look for that unicorn hill. You look for that authenticity. You look for that screen accuracy. You look for that micro. Oh my God, how could I put this without really getting people upset? You look for every little detail within that saber that is so screen accurate and accurate to the way it was built, right? That the price tag on it, if you don't have a budget in mind and there is no end to money and you buy that hilt, by all means go for it. If it is that authentic, if the parts that you buy are authentic to the same kind of diameter that the button has, the same diameter that the body is, go for it, man. If that is your dream, go for it. Get it done, bring it into reality, because that's what you're striving for to get out of this hobby. If you're looking for shelf queens and you want to fill your wall with sabers that don't work or work, but they look good on the wall, go for it. By all means, go for it. Don't let anybody tell you no, you can't do this, because yes, you can. Yes, you can. Now, don't get me wrong. If you are going to have to pay a bill before you get that done, better pay that bill first. Pay your bills first, and then go and get your stuff done. Because you don't want to get into trouble with this hobby. I mean, it's and I don't know if people are out there that are like that, where they put the hobby in front of their responsibilities, much like gambling. So, it's a fine line. Make sure you pay your bills before you go and have fun and get what you want out of this hobby. Um, you know, because you can get in trouble really quick because it is pricey on certain things. Um, you know. But with that
All
being said,
depends.
yeah, it all depends. But with that being said, if you have your money to play around with, do what you like. Get out of this hobby what you want
Yeah.
because like I said, people, it is ultimately your decision. Don't let nobody tell you you can't do it. Um, because you can. Even if it takes time, you can. A little bit at a time like myself. A little bit at a time. Yeah, if you want to stay married, Scott. See, that's what I'm saying, Scott. You got to do a little bit at a time. Not to get them mad, just enough to kind of ease, get what you want, but keep them happy as well, Scott. I've been married 26 years, man. I know how to take care of certain things. Wife said, "Don't get in trouble with your." Mo, I know. I'm telling you, I try my best. You have okay. You do have to listen to your wife, okay? You do have to listen to your wife if you do want to stay married. But again, if you pay your bills, then you have money to play around with. Then and buy her flowers too. Before you buy that saber, buy her flowers, man. That way it'll be a little easier. uh, you know, got to do the husband and the married duties first, and then you can play around. I'll tell you, that's a good one, Mo. Keep her happy, dude. Keep her happy. You got to keep her happy. A good marriage. And what's really cool though is my wife. She does not like Star Wars at all. She doesn't. But she know it makes me happy, so she buys me the Star Wars stuff. She won't buy any hilts. She won't buy my parts for the lightsaber stuff. But she buys, stuff like, like the cup. She buys shirts. She buys the Lego ships. I've got some Lego ships up here that I gotten from my kids and the wife that they all bought. So little stuff like that, to make you happy. Again, the collector part of it. If you've got a partner that loves it just as much as you do, it'll be that much better. That much better. But if you have one that doesn't like it so much, hey, make them happy first, then you get happy. Best advice from a married dude, I tell you. Make them happy first, then you get happy. They come first. And then, again, let's go back to the um, let's go back to the tinkering, James. Let's go back to the tinkering. When
Sure,
when
man.
you
What do you want to know?
when you started tinkering with lightsabers, okay, when you first started tinkering with the lightsabers themselves, what was your biggest challenge in the lightsaber parts? Was it getting some of the parts? Was it putting some of the parts together and then have to modify them? What was the biggest challenge that you had in the tinkering department of the lightsabers when you really started out?
That's a really good question. I would probably have to say a little bit of everything. Parts. Sometimes it's hard to get
Hmm.
things because it's not, your design calls for something, but the only parts available are so and so. Also, trying to create, clients' ideas, which is also very, very extensive and critical. And sometimes it could take a while to, get that down on paper and then come to fruition. Unless it's one of my own designs, then I just go to town. But if somebody's wanting something to actually be designed, then it's
Hmm.
all part of that. It's that's also a hard part too, depending on the will of the party at hand. I mean, some
Hmm.
people just, oh yeah, make me whatever, make it simple. Do you've got full reign? Okay, no problem. I'll do it for you. Everything will work great when you get it done. So, but there's also some that want, I want additional crystal chambers or want extra lights or extra things or features. So those things are all have to go down on paper first before all that's done. But that is basically the root of it all. Like things like that. Parts was a
Hmm.
problem at one point. Speakers I've always had a little bit of difficulty with because there's so many brands out there, and some of the brands are great, some of the brands are not. So
Hmm.
and it's variety. What's available. Basically, it's like not having the parts. Um, I didn't have any problem with some of the sound fonts and stuff because obviously there's other font makers out there, but I also started my
Hmm.
own, so I didn't have any problem making them. As far as what I wanted or what other clients do want, as far as customizations and all that stuff. So it's things like
Right.
that. So those are pretty. Those can come and go and be difficult as well. In the saber and tinkering business. Because it's
Hmm.
you have to find the right stuff to do it, or you have to improvise. Like when I made this, the stranger hilt. I mean, this is just a 3D printer version, but I had to figure out how to separate all these parts, how to mold them out, how to hollow it out. How to make them come apart without breaking and actually handling the blades. And so
Hmm.
these are all the little things that it all takes time. If you got the time, then you can do it. If you're doing it, if you're like on a 15-minute break and you're trying to sketch something and make them out good, you may be that good, or you may have difficulty. So leave yourself some more time to get the things you need, enjoy the things you want, and always take your time when you're building, because every part and everything that you do is going to result in the finished product. So just make sure that
Yeah.
you don't miss anything, or don't. That's basically the thing.
And
Sometimes we miss it. We overstep things, or overlook things, and it could cause either a great thing or it can cause chaos. So it's always a good thing to keep
right.
focused on that.
What is the percentage of improvisation? Would you say it's like more than 10%, more than 15%?
Improv is for me. Oh man, it's way
Yeah.
more than those percentages. It's like almost 80%.
Really?
Yeah, I do
That's
a lot of
interesting.
improving, man. Like all my stuff, I make all my I do all the chassis. Like I said, you've seen it, all those things I do, and anybody who needs sound fonts, everything is all pretty much custom made and improvisation. Here, where does this go here? Like
Hmm.
just had somebody inquiring about the Galaxy's Edge sabers and all that for the installs and the conversions and stuff. And I said, yeah, I love to do those things. Why? Is because it's challenging. Number two, they're not really that hard to do. I mean, it's a really
Yeah,
basically a hollow tube. Yeah, you got to take it apart. You got to do a couple of things, but I enjoy that. That's my thing. I love to see things go back together and start up and bam. And
absolutely.
and it's simple stuff. People don't want a lot of stuff because they just want the outside. Like I was told by a customer, "Hey, I'm sending you this. I don't really care what's on the inside. Make me a little chassis. Hey, give me a stock chassis. That's fine too. I don't care." Great. I always work with the
Hmm.
person I'm working with to make sure we're getting what he wants. But the point is, I'm trying to make is that it's really 80%. It's basically 80% modifications and arrangements and all kinds of things on a 24/7 basis. It's always moving, you know.
Yeah, the modifications I think is anywhere between 80 and 90% of things because
Oh man.
you have so many of these different hilts that come out, right? Whether they be reproduced by a company or whether they be created by the person themselves, right?
Yeah.
For example, John Santos from Collectors Outpost, we see some of his vision hilts come out of the art, or was it art sabers, right?
Yeah.
And so you've got, what does he have? I think he's got three right now. He's got the scrap flex, he's got
Hmm.
the duality, and the other one, it starts with an S. Oh my God, my brain is going mush right now. Anyhow, so he's got three hilts out there on art sabers, and I would love to get all of those hilts. There's I
No.
would love to get some of Solo's hilts. Benji stuff, Jawa's junkyard stuff. I mean, there's so many hilts that I would love to get, but for somebody who has a budget like I do, I mean, you got to pick and choose sometimes what you need to get. So let's say you want to build a hilt from the custom saber shop. You get $50 like I do out of your paychecks. You get only $50 to spend, and that's it. No more, no less, right? And you got to decide, okay, I want to get this part from the custom saber shop. It's $40, and that leaves me $10 for the rest of the 2 weeks. Do I get this part, or do I spend or do I not spend that $50, put it aside, and save it for that saber that I want to get from this other hill? So there are so many choices that you have to ask yourself what is more important at that moment in time. Do you want an already working saber? Do you want to work on a saber? What is it that you're trying to achieve at that point in time if you have a budget like that, right? I myself, I go back and forth. I'll put in $50 here and not spend it for the 2 weeks, and in 2 weeks I have $100, right?
Hmm.
Then again, I have where, oh shit, I'm working on this saber, but I need these parts, so I got to spend this $50 for these parts in order to get this done, and that's where my money
Yeah.
goes. Or sometimes I'll just randomly be looking around and like, oh shit, I like that part. That's 250. That's $2.50. I'm gonna buy that. I think that can go great in my crystal chamber. Guess what? That's $2.50 right there that you just bought, but it's sitting in your drawer for Lord knows how long until you're ready to, until you're ready to produce what you're going to make, right?
I kind of do
So,
that too, though. I kind of collect parts myself. If I see something that's inexpensive or something that's cool, like Wade Sabers had that extension for the flagship. They're back on the site now and all that. But I love those little things. They're great. I have one myself. Just something that it's a good addition to the uh, to the hilt with maybe a movable a motor in the chassis or something like that. That's what it was fielded to be. So it was pretty cool. But
right?
yeah, it's
Like
it's it's great.
I'm I'm trying to look for a couple of parts here that I had actually just recently purchased, right? And I was thinking to myself, now, am I going to be able to get away with this, and or am I not going to be able to get with it? So I bought some finishing washers, various sizes of finishing washers, right? So let me see here. Let me bring it up right here. So various sizes of finishing washers, correct? And right here, so you can see.
Right.
And the way my brain is thinking, okay, I'm going to utilize these for the crystal chamber eventually. So in various sizes, I know now I have bigger sizes too, and I just grabbed what I got in front of me right now, so
Nice.
it's not really going to cover it, but if you can see how I'm thinking of utilizing the finishing washer to have it inset and then have it covered. Of course, it's not going to cover this. I'm just using this. Well, you know what? Let me get the other LED that I have, the smaller one, and the smaller one would probably be better than that one because that one is going into hilt, so the chassis pretty soon. But in order for me to utilize a crystal chamber, what I'm kind of conjuring up, if you can see, oh, my bad. There we go, right there. And if you look, and this is just a smaller head that I have, but because I'm not gonna take a lot of time to find the bigger one. But if you look at that, right, and it's gonna enclose the whole LED in there, and then I'm gonna set into it the for the crystal chamber to go on the bottom of that, right? Yes, Rich. I'll need to insulate it.
Yeah, definitely.
Um,
I was just about to say that. Insulate it.
yeah, with hot glue or
Plastic washers. Well, plastic washers, hot
plastic.
glue. Yeah, because hot glue melts. Eventually, if it gets pretty
Hmm.
hot, those LEDs. It depends on how hot it gets. But
Yeah.
I wouldn't use hot glue
So
though for those things. It never
no.
works. I'd use like maybe E6000, just make sure it's clean so it doesn't bridge anything. But
Yeah.
maybe a plastic washer or a rubber washer in between the metal stuff always, and you'll be better off with that. You know.
Yeah. 3H. What up? 3H is in the house.
But again, it's a learning experience, and you'll find these things out as either you did a great job or you smoked it. You know what I mean? That's how that's how we learn. It's like poof, oh man, I should have insulated it, or
Right.
it happens. So,
It does, and that's another thing. You
but
can't
try and
get.
do it on things that are less expensive. If you're starting out doing soldering and stuff, and you want to get. Here's another good thing. Like if you want to, what do you want out of the hobby? Well, I see a lot of people doing things themselves. You know what I mean? So they're asking for, hey,
Mhm.
good soldering stations, good this, good that. Said, well, you really best bet is to do your research and to watch a lot of videos and stuff. Unfortunately, we have YouTube for that to really help everybody
Yeah,
along. You know what I mean? Um, but to learn
I
how
can
to
tell
do the
you.
videos from the videos, it really helps you, and it gains it. A lot of people are like we were talking about a couple of weeks ago, visual learners. We're all
Right.
we're all pretty much visual learners. After a while, um,
Hmm.
so those things really help in your process to get where you want to be. I know a lot of people want to install themselves or program themselves or do it, so they always ask. But tell you, like I said, always in the end of this statement that I always make, once you learn it and you retain it, it's always there for you. It's always going to be there, until like an update or something may change some parameters, but you got the gist of it. It's great.
Right.
It's great.
Now,
Videos help a lot, a lot.
I mean, I probably watched Rob Petkow's Mad Cow's videos. I would
Uh
say
huh.
around 200-300 times before I even attempted to make, one, uh, one strip of LEDs work.
Oh,
I
sure. Yeah.
mean, you know, I watched it, I backed it up, I watched it, I stopped it, I watched it. What is this? What is he doing?
Well,
And then I went to
I like
cows.
I like the blades, the blade building and stuff. There's a lot of blade building stuff. Obviously, Civilized Sabers does it, the best and stuff. For me, I mean, I think those blades are credible. Um,
Hmm.
but like I said, learning this stuff is great. And if people want to make their own blades, I mean, go for it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I've done a couple
No.
myself. But it's great. It's just another addition to the collection.
Exactly, right? And you get so much satisfaction out of it too, because
Sure.
I myself I've made 4 blades myself so far, right? I
Yeah.
still have
Nice.
yet to make a TriStar or Quadstar and Pentastar.
Mm.
I still have yet to do any of those. But to make a dual star and or just a regular, blade itself, um,
I still have my TriStar
it-
chip too. My TriStar PCB. I still have it. I bought it a long time ago with the kit and all that stuff. So
uh-huh,
I still have it. And I want to do it because I think that's like one of the first. Like we're saying about classic. That's like one of the first chips
right.
released. That was really cool to do. You know.
Exactly. And also going into
Mm.
you know, and I'm trying not to really get into people kind of arguing about this either, because everything should be cohesive and people
Mhm.
working together to solve problems that are going on within the saber community. And
Sure.
regardless of the hilt where you got it from, yeah, there are some shady places to get your hilts from. But
Hmm.
if that's where you want to get your hilt, because one, maybe you don't have the budget for it, and that's what you can afford. Okay, uh, you know, I myself would never criticize somebody that got it from a disreputable place, right? And that used to be highly anticipated. But learning what their practices were and what they stood for and how they treat their employees made me think twice about ordering from them. But I would never chastise somebody from ordering from that place, because if that's what they can afford, that's what they can afford. Just my only recommendation to them would be, before you make that choice, do your homework on who is good, who is not, what they stand for. Are they for people? Are they utilizing bad practices to come up with these hilts? And are you
Mm.
willing to be associated with those bad practices, right? Now, if you grab one of those hilts from a secondhand person who's already purchased that, you're not necessarily purchasing from the company themselves. You're purchasing from that person who's already done that. So it kind of levels it. You're getting a hilt that may be good, but what that company stands for is a different story. So again, there
Mm.
are so many things out there that can tell you what places to go that are excellent, that have great reviews, that have great hills, that have that treat people right. Their customer service is good. Their everything is top tier, top part, right? Then you have some of these other companies that, okay, you buy from them, but you never your hilt has problems the minute that you get it, and you can't get anywhere with it, and or they just shut down completely. Then you have these other guys that actually are in that boat because they got hurdles that have come across, but they're trying to make things right, you know. And so you want to make sure that you can give people second chances if they're willing to do what's right and take care of you after a while. It may take a while, but at least they're trying to do the right things. So make sure that you take care of those people who are trying to do the right thing and want a good reputation and are trying to do that. Um, Again, don't chastise anybody for buying something that what their budget may entail, or because they didn't do their research. If it's a great hilt and it's good hilt, awesome. If it's not, hey, you know what? If you need help getting that saber where it should be, we can refer you to these other people that can able you to have a better experience. And so that's the kind of things. Don't dog somebody from something. Just try to say, hey, I want to help you have a better experience than just chastising somebody for something that they can't help. And especially if they're starting out, or if they're just if they don't know any better. We're here to have fun and help each other out in the community. Again, somebody's like me, somebody slow, but can work on things and get things done slowly but surely. Don't ever think of yourself as that you can't do it, you won't do it, or you give up because of this and that. There's avenues to get you where you want to. Take advantage of those avenues, even if it's YouTube videos. Even if you're watching us here and you say, "Oh, dude, oh my God, these guys are having so much fun, but they got so much input on certain things. I never thought of that." Well, that's what we're here for. We're here to have fun and put input so that you are aware of those things. And if you don't have a place to go and talk about this stuff, that's what we're here for too. We are a place that you can come and have fun. And if you can't talk to your friends or your significant other or your members of your family who just don't give a shit, I'm sorry. That you just can't talk to anybody. come to the show. Come to the show. Have some fun with us. We'd love to have you. And if it makes you that much better, I'm telling you, man, we'd love to have you here no matter what. Right? Um, back to collectability.
Hey,
High
after that,
end.
I gotta say, I actually have to get off. I have a job interview tomorrow, and I need to make sure that I'm all prepped for tomorrow.
All
Oh,
right,
well,
man.
good luck to you, man.
Good
Thank
Good
luck.
you.
luck to you. I hope you get it.
I will see you all next Sunday, and with tons to talk about after
Cool.
McCrossy.
Oh,
Cool.
yeah.
All right. See you guys later.
Lots to talk
All
about.
right.
See
See
you,
ya.
man.
All right. Bye. By the way, James, thank you for your help with
Oh,
the whole quote thing earlier. Seriously, that
yeah.
really helped.
No problem. I'm glad it worked.
Yep. All right. See you guys.
See ya. So, see, that's what it's all about right there. It's just helping each other. Just and it's not
Yeah.
a whole lot of stuff. It's just very minimal stuff that
Yeah.
puts a smile
Conflict
on
issue.
somebody's face.
That's all it was. It just a lot of things. Because a lot of the things I haven't done myself as far as the programming and stuff. A lot of people don't want to get involved with it sometimes, and I know it's hard to
Hmm.
read. The constant websites and all that stuff, and it becomes a blur after a while because there's so much information. But I've sifted through just about everything on there, and I have a good adaptation of what's going on with it all. So basically, when people call things out in the groups and things, oh, I can point you in this direction, or I'll just give them the links to it, or actually I'll say, hey, message me because it looks like you're having trouble, because that's the worst thing is being frustrated sitting there, for 4 hours or so. If I don't catch it, I'm sure there's other people that would, but that's
Yeah,
the beauty of knowing what I know, because you can pass it on to other people without hesitation. It's there. It's like there's never a real when I do my programming and stuff for the hilts that I install and stuff, that's all between me and the client and what they want on it and all that stuff. So obviously
hmm
there's a good communication with that, so they get what they want, and that's great with me. Simpler the better.
I think that well, that's another thing. The biggest part of this hobby, the biggest, and I would say 90% of this hobby is communication. Whether
Yeah.
what you're trying to achieve, if you talk to an installer, 90% of communication goes a long way to achieving what you're wanting out of the hilt, right?
Well, I believe it's
Um,
probably 110%, because it's something,
I
it's like it's everything really. It's everything
okay, so
to me.
I stand corrected. I stand corrected,
Yeah. I
110%.
think it's 100%,
Because yeah,
or
well,
100,
I mean, and
120. As long as it's up there, it doesn't matter. But you got to get
it
them
has
respect
to be
somehow, man. 110. There we go.
right. You feel like Rodney Dangerfield. No respect, man.
No
Yeah.
respect at all. I just got no respect.
But yeah, for somebody who wants a certain hilt to be a certain way,
Sure.
you can't expect to have the hilt that you're dreaming of if you don't talk to the installer of what your likes, dislikes, what you want to achieve, what you don't want to achieve, and certain aspects of it. Um, if you're looking for certain things to go into the chassis, if you're looking certain things outside onto the body, such as
Right.
your LEDs, or you've got the LEDs on the chassis, you've got your crystal chamber that lights up, or if you want a crystal chamber that doesn't light up, I mean, you've got to tell your person those things that you want. And if you
Yeah.
don't tell them, you can't you can't get mad, because if you don't tell what you're thinking of, you're not going to get the result that's in here in your brain and out into reality, because
Yeah.
the installers are not mind readers. If they don't see what your vision is, they can't achieve that. And you have to be patient with them, because they are trying to get what you want out of that hilt. So
Yep. Yep.
you know, there lies a hurdle in itself, not only for you as the person who's trying to achieve the saber of their dreams, but also for the installer themselves because they want to make you happy. They want you to get everything out of it that you're asking them to do, but you can't get mad if at the last minute after everything's done, oh, I should have had this put in, I should have had that. Yeah, well, you should have talked to them before they got everything put together, and yeah, it may be a bummer, but they can't do it if you don't do it beforehand and tell them while they're working
Well,
on
it
it.
depends. Some things can be corrected. There's not always a whole lot that, unless we're redesigning things to go inside the hilt to accommodate, a new idea. I usually try and lay all that stuff down, way in advance, and
Hmm.
I let it sit for a little while too. It's like, say, hey, before I set this in stone, let me know. I'll give you a day on this because there's a lot involved with this. So just make sure this is what you want and make sure this is how you
Yeah.
want to approach it and the parts you need. And that's all. It's really simple. But
Mm.
mid print or something like that, it's pretty much over. You really can't change it unless you go back in, redesign it, and then reprint a new model. So it's very difficult to do things mid section. You could do
Right.
things mid design.
Hmm.
But you can't do things
Hmm.
mid print unless you're actually adding a magnet or something that stays in there. But
Yeah.
it's there's a lot of
Most of are
forces
most of
against
the
that.
installs are most of the installs that you do are for collectability or usability?
Both. I do both.
Both. Yeah.
Yeah.
See,
Actually, I do
that's
all of
another
them. I
thing.
mean, yeah,
I'm always
I
thinking.
the Galaxy's Edge ones. They're always collectors. They're big chunky ones. The ones that you put. Actually, the Savvy's. Savvy's Workshop ones. Big chunky ones. Remember, I showed. That I rebuilt
Yeah.
those and I've done those. Made them RGB and all that stuff. Um,
Yeah.
those things, they're like collector's items, but he wanted them to duel with. So it's like, okay. So basically I had a, retrofit, dualable blade holders and RGB holders and all kinds of things in order for it to function, you know.
Hmm.
But I did get the chassis kit from a company that specializes in that, because it probably would have taken me a little time to create the chassis myself, although I could do it, but it's just so much easier. And it was actually probably almost the same, if not a little bit cheaper to get that kit. So always ask, what I'm saying, always ask about certain things. Like somebody asked about the conversion about the Galaxy's Edge stuff, and a lot of people said, oh, it's very pricey, it's very
Yeah.
expensive. Well, the only reason why it's pricey and expensive is because the parts are going up. It's like my labor doesn't change. And I mean, sometimes it changes depending on what I'm getting myself into. I mean, if it's something very
Yeah.
complex, it's going to take some hours to get involved with that. But if something for like a Galaxy's Edge Vader or a Kylo or something like that, it's a hollow tube, man. There's nothing in it, so I can go to town
Yeah.
creating whatever I want. There's so many mounting points that I could do whatever I want. You could put a metal chassis in there, whatever. So
Yeah.
those are the things that I always like to see what is capable of, and that's why the client asked me, hey, can you do this, can you do that? Sure. There's no there's no try, there's always do. You know what I mean? You could try,
Yeah.
but it would be better off if you can do it. It's because trying is great, but you don't want to waste too much time on trying if it's not going to be feasible to the build, or it's going to take an astronomical amount of effort and time, and sometimes
Yeah.
things aren't really doable. I mean,
Right.
on a very rare scale that things aren't doable, but I always find a way around it, and that's the beauty of you know the whole thing.
Hmm.
That's how it is. It's to make all of this stuff and to have fun with the swords and all this stuff. It's all part of it. It makes you like, you want that feeling. Well, that's the feeling you'll get when you finally complete one of your projects and you finally understand what it took to get there, and then you start helping other people, and then they're understanding. It's a daisy chain of things,
Right.
events. you know
Hmm.
But
and
it's great.
that's a great point that you put in because, like you said, daisy chain. A lot of people don't
Of events, yeah.
associate. A lot of people don't associate the pricing. The pricing for parts, the pricing for the labor. You
Yeah.
know, um,
Time, what it's going to take, you know.
in the time, yeah. I myself was one of those people before I worked on Roy Boy, right? And started
Hmm.
working into the hobby. I was like, why does it cost so much? These guys are just, they're putting these lights in, this and that. And, I
Hmm.
had no clue. And this is for all you newbies out there, man, because I've been there and done that. So take it from
Hmm.
somebody who's been there and done that.
No, sure.
I had I
Me
had
too.
no clue what it took to even get a portion of a hilt together, let alone wire two wires together. The money that you spend for your soldering iron, the money that you spend for your soldier, the money that you spend for your wires, the money that you spend for the boards, the money that you spend for blade parts and all the components of the blade, the money it takes to make the blades. These things, they don't just magically go together. And you may see some guys charging 60, $70. Yeah, okay. But what did they do? They probably went to AliExpress and they got a strip of LEDs for $20, right?
Yeah,
But
there's
those
just different
those
grades of parts and all that. You
you
know,
know
it's like
yeah. And so you're going to price something according to your parts price or and your
budget.
time and labor, your effort, right?
Well, it depends on
Now,
which side of the aisle you're talking of, a customer or a builder. You know what I mean?
well, that too, because I mean, both parties have not only a budget, but both parties have money to spend. Okay, and you have, like I said, before the customer even pays you a dime, you already have these parts, right? You already have these parts that they're going to pay for in terms of
Mm.
parts for blade. Let's say maybe they've already
It's
sent you
possible.
their
I mean,
hilt,
usually I don't
right?
like to let them sit around because the money could go elsewhere to other things, and which it does, you know, in turn. But yeah, I do
Hmm.
carry some specific normalized parts in here to actually get a build out the door. No problem.
Hmm.
But I don't. I'm not here, stocking 100 Profi boards when I know that I have access to them. And that's the nice thing about having a store that you have access to. It's great. So
Right.
if you want to stock the parts and you want to have like a billion profits and you got a good price off them, go for it, man. That's not a problem. But that's something I don't normally like to do. I don't.
Yeah.
I just like to have a fresh build. Fresh things like that. Yeah, I got a couple of fresh profits laying around and stuff. Like I said before, the standard stock stuff is really what I'll keep around. Switches, tactiles, and
Right.
those little things, and of course a whole bunch of accent LEDs because I do a lot of crystal chambers. Everything I do
Right.
just about has a crystal chamber in it, so I have to keep that supply on hand. Sometimes they're hard to get, but sometimes they're not. Depends, and the
Yeah.
pricing,
Right.
So
With somebody like I said, like I had no clue. Like really, you 3D print a crystal chamber, but you
yeah.
have the button situation. Okay, let's say you're paying 78 cents for a button, right? Okay.
Hmm.
So in reality, you're actually paying like $1.50 for that one little button because you got to pay for the shipping for it to come to you.
I gotta pay for all that
So
coming in. Yeah. And I'm
so
not
well,
charging the
see that's
customer that. I'm not charging the customer my shipping. I'm not.
right.
I'm not gonna. I just think that's really unfair to me, and to the
Yeah.
customer because it would be they don't have to have it unless they're having something shipped, that's special to them, and then
Right.
it would shipping would be reimbursed. Like they would pay me for shipping for
Exactly.
something they wanted. But normally,
Right.
if parts are parts, that's it. It's
Parts
my
of parts.
duty to
Yeah.
supply them, but I do charge you for the part, and
Yeah.
the labor that it costs me to, put the saber together.
Right.
that's what I believe in. So that's what I did.
Right, because your time is just as valuable as any other people's time too. You
I
know,
mean, I would
you got
expect
this
the
guy
person
who,
to pay shipping on the way back, and if they're shipping their sabers to me and then they pay for shipping back, that's just basically, the normal thing that I would expect to see and happen. Sometimes we get
yeah,
lucky, and if it's a big build or it's a big project, I'll just ship it out to you. Don't worry about shipping. So shipping is
yeah.
great, and it's a nice part. It's a part of the process as well.
See, and people, need to understand that there's a lot of aspects to it. It's not
A lot
just
of
a
variables.
one-sided thing. Where, yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of variables. Exactly. I mean, that is so true.
Well, I
But
think it's the
but
time that they don't understand that it takes. It's time. The time is very important. Like, I wake up. If I wake up
Mhm.
at 5:30 and I know I got like 6 projects to do that day, I may not be able to get. I may only be able to get like 3 or 4 of them done. I'm not in a race. I'm not rushing to get them done because I don't want to fail. So I tend to take my time on them, and I think a lot of my clients do understand that, and they let me know that that's okay. Take your time. I'm in no rush for it. But
Yeah,
some
and that's
repairs
good.
came in like last month, and hey, what's the turnaround time? I really need this thing back and all that stuff. Well, what's the problem? Oh, loose wire, whatever, blah blah blah. Yeah, sure. Next day, I shipped it right back out because it was just something that was simple, easy, and it can go fast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
and not stomp on anybody else's time. But you know, that's the thing. It really depends on what you want out of your the feeling that you get. What do you want out of saber building or collecting or
Hmm.
or model building? It's all relative. Everything is all in the same
It
category
is.
basically.
It is very relative because I find that when you're collecting, the satisfaction of getting all of these different hilts from the various makers, right, and putting them on the
Hmm.
wall, and you look back. It's like comic book collecting. I'm a collector myself, like John. I mean, I collect comic books. I collect knives,
Nice.
swords, guns. You name it. I collect things. Right now, I don't collect pop toys. I don't, because I found that if I collect pop toys, man, I wouldn't get any sabers and anything else on top of that. So I had to pick and choose what I want for collectability, right? As a
There
matter of
you go.
fact, my
Sure.
my father-in-law, he deals with a lot of antiquities and reproduction
Hmm.
swords and so forth. And so
Nice.
he's given me a couple of reproduction swords, Spanish daggers, Spanish broadswords, I think an Irish
Yeah.
broadsword, a broadsword that you saw with what was it, oh, not Pompey. Oh, the my God, Maximus. What's his name? Anyway, those kind of swords, right, from the Romans, a Roman sword. No matter of
Hmm.
fact, I'm gonna step out of the picture here for just a second, and I'm gonna show you one of the ones that my father-in-law has given me. So let me see here. Do, 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 do. And here we go. Here's one of the swords, one of the reproduction swords that he has given me, right?
Nice.
So you can see, oh my gosh, it is long and it is kind of heavy
Cool.
and kind of sharp. So
Oh, you gotta be careful of
um,
that sucker.
when I got into the saber community, it was the collectability of collecting more swords, the laser
Hmm.
swords, if you will. So that was one aspect that the reasoning behind getting this. And of course, the biggest reason was to honor my friend's memory after he passed away from brain cancer. Third was, as a collector, you learn to appreciate the value that you get out of the saber as well as what goes into the saber. Now, if you have a crummy install, get it, gut it, and get better, something better, right? You don't have to have a crummy saber the whole time. There's ways around of getting a good saber, even if it is, crummy on the inside. You can, even a dead plant can come back to life and be beautiful. So again, it's what you want out of it. If you're in for the collectability of it, if you're in it to become a tinkerer and learn to build your own sabers, if you're in it for learning new skills as far as learning how to soldier, learning how to wire, learning how to wire up those boards, learning to do the programming part of it. If you're into that kind of stuff, there's so many aspects that you can get out of this hobby that really define not only who you are, but maybe who you want to become. And uh, one thing that we have not talked about, James,
Yeah.
is the lightsaber forms. We have not
Oh
talked
yeah.
about that in terms of getting out of this lightsaber community hobby,
Mm.
because now I've shopped around a little bit and I'm seeing some lightsaber academies, lightsaber combat stuff, lightsabers. You learn the
Well, that's
different forms, the Makashi and so forth. And so
yeah.
the Star Wars lore, if you will, right? If you're going that down that rabbit hole and getting into the lore and learning, the saber techniques themselves, the spinning, the fighting, the choreography, everything on top of that, it all ties in together of what you're looking for out of this hobby. And you have to be true to yourself. Is it what you really want to do, or is it not what you're really looking for? So you have, and then of course, I also see some people, they get into the hobby and they get out very quickly. Maybe not because they want to, it's just, the amount of money that you have to spend in order to upkeep what your hilts, and if you can afford to keep buying your hilts and so forth. Man, I tell you, if I have to wait 100 years, I may not live that long, but if I gotta wait, 3 or 4 years for one hilt, I'm gonna wait 3 or 4 years for one hilt. I mean, it's as simple as that. I'm not gonna be in rush and be like, keep try to keep up with the Joneses in terms of having all of these hilts on the wall, where I can have a few quality hilts that I absolutely adore and cherish and will never part with till I die. That's the difference in certain things. But
Well, most of
you,
the
you
time, yeah. I mean, I got a couple of specialty hilts I'll probably keep for a while too. But I don't know. I may part with some. I've got a whole bunch of ones that they're really you know they're special to me, but maybe special to somebody else. So it's like it's part of the hobby anyway. Trades,
yeah,
getting a good
yeah,
price for the
exactly.
best ones. I've done a lot of trades and a lot of low cost empties. I still got a whole bunch that I'm ready. I'm willing to part with and stuff like that. I think I still have a whole bunch of ads on my Facebook page and stuff. So, but yeah, I
I'll
mean,
have to look into
a
more. I have to
a whole
look
bunch.
into those.
Well, I was selling them for like $20 a piece plus shipping. I mean, a lot of these things they're really hollow. A lot of saber forge stuff. With the 2 button scenario, which is cool. But for somebody who's just starting out needs a body. I mean, and
There you
that's
go.
real cheap. That's a cheap
Yeah,
one, and you could do a lot. You could do a pretty decent install with them. So that's why I just have them up
and
for
it's and
empties.
especially for a learner installer. You know,
Oh yeah, sure.
I
Yeah,
mean,
pretty important.
it's a low budget hilt. It's a great learner installer hilt.
Yeah, it's
And
not bad.
again, you know, that's the whole thing. Like, again, you get out what you want to put in. Um, Most important thing. Now, if you're in for the collectability, go for it. If you're in for the rabbit hole, so to speak, where you get a list of everything going around, go for it. If you're just bits and pieces here and there, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's what you want to get out of it, not what anybody
It's when
else wants
you're,
out
you
of
know, it's
it.
when you're ready. It's when you're ready, you know.
Yeah,
But like I said, there's so many different designs and so many different price ranges. Everybody will be able to, get one or another. It's just a matter of what you want out of it. I mean, how far you, like we were saying before, how far you want to go with it, and you know, like Barra said, it's becoming a sickness with the collection. But you know what? It's not really a sickness. It's fine. It's finally an enjoyment. You know what I mean? I don't call it a sickness. I
hmm
call it. It's finally something that you click with and you like it, and that's
yeah,
very far and wide for a lot of people. They don't find their hobbies until they can't do anything with the hobby. You know what I mean? It's too late. So it's always kind
yeah,
of good to dive in deep and find out what you like, and whatever sticks. I say don't give up, and I say, get those signatures and do all the things that you want to do, because it's life is
yeah.
too
I
short,
agree
man,
with
for that
that.
stuff. You know what I mean? It's like go out into
Yeah,
that Comic-Con, do the things that you want to do now. You know what I mean? Get
now, yeah, while you
yeah,
can, while you can.
while you
Yeah,
can. I mean, while there's sales going on too. I mean, you can get some good costumes. Support your community with that, of course. I'm sure there's a lot of makers out there that would prefer to have you buy their stuff than the commercial brands and all that other stuff. But whatever you're able to afford is what you can produce. And I've seen a lot of homemade stuff too. People go to Michael's or something and get some craft stuff, and I've done it too. I've created a whole bunch of costumes with craft foam for one of my old you know videos that I did, and I still have all those photos and stuff. I'll probably post them on my page or whatever. Hey, I made these. Don't give up, because
yeah.
really
I
it's
love
easy.
watching sci-fi. Yeah, absolutely. I love watching sci-fi makers that they
Yeah.
show how to do certain
Oh
things, and
yeah.
it's like, oh my God, that's cool.
Those are the
That's
Yeah, it's so
cool.
cool. I mean, I put a couple of videos out, but I think it was on my other channel. But I could also transfer them over to the other one. But they had a lot of about the costume making and about how hard it was to make my fan film on my own and stuff like that. Because I did do all the fan films that I made a long time ago, like years ago, on my own. I didn't have anybody taking the photo and all that stuff. And I'm so used to being, doing these things on my own and being alone most of the time to produce all these things. It really it's the absorption of my time. That's where it is. It all goes into that.
Yeah,
So that's how I can help people. That's how I can do all this. So it's like a full circle. You know.
yeah. And the absorption of time can go by
Yeah,
really
Adam
fast
Savage
or
too.
really
Adam
slow.
Savage has got a lot of cool videos out.
Oh, he does.
All
He has
those
some amazing stuff.
tons of
Amazing
stuff,
stuff.
man. But I enjoy it though. I mean, I'm gonna try and work on building my own saber out there on the mill and stuff. And I still have my big old wood dowels that I'm going to use for handles and stuff because I want to build it more like the mountains, like probably a combination of wood and aluminum again, like I first started doing, way back a long time ago. I had bought a wood lathe and I started
Hmm.
making wood ones, wood sabers and stuff, just really simple designs
Wow.
in the core and all that,
Hmm.
but I stopped doing it because I wound up doing more of the sound fonts and the installs, and there's tons of people making sabers, and they can, surpass me as far as uh, productivity, getting them out on time. But I just like to tinker around and do stuff on the lathe, and obviously for some of my builds, I would make parts. You know what I mean, like blade holders, things like that. So it's
Right.
always available for things like that, but not for probably anything major mass production unless I do a specialty item like those
Yeah.
7/8 adapters, the 1H to 7/8 aluminum adapters that
Hmm.
you just slide in there and you put the blade and you lock it down. That's something that I might start to tinker with a little bit as we talk about
Right.
tinkering.
I
You
think,
know.
oh, well, yeah, the most important part of any of this at all is the pure enjoyment that you get out of any
Oh
aspect
yeah.
of the lightsaber stuff. If you truly enjoy it, go for it. Do what you can within it. And if it doesn't bring you any joy, if you're in it just to kind of like, I got to get another hill because I like it, I really don't want it. No, it's not enjoyable. Don't put yourself in that position. Just go with stuff that brings you the pure joy to have in your hand, to light it up,
Right.
all of that good stuff, right? There's
Yeah.
no if there's
I
no
think so.
joy if
You
there's
know.
no joy, yeah, if there's no joy in it, don't do it. Because you don't want to feel like you have to do something. Most of the people that are in this hobby because they like it, they enjoy it, they love it, every aspect of it, even if they don't do certain parts of it. You know,
Right. Which is fine. You know, not every. You know, the moral of the story is, you know, if you're, you know, I don't know. I consider myself a jack of a lot of trades, so I do a lot of things. Not everybody does want to do a lot of things, or not everybody has the capability of doing a lot of things. They're really good at one thing, or they're really good at two
exactly.
things, or something that would trigger. You just if you find that that's the key right there. You got to find what you are super intensely good at, and it could
Hmm.
be the same thing as somebody else, but it doesn't matter. You're still individual, and you still have your ideas, and you still have things that you could possibly maybe collaborate with that person, or share it on the group. There's
Hmm.
It's open source to me. All this stuff to me is open source. I've never seen any
Yeah.
secrets. I've never seen anything that nobody's going to, hey, that's not fair and all that stuff. I mean, although I've seen a couple of ads, but I don't know the whole stories on who builds what sabers and if the models are the same or whatever. It's like let them hash that out. If they did wrong, those companies will, obviously collaborate. But
Yeah. And a
my
lot of
my
times
point
it's
is,
just as simple.
yeah,
And James, if I'm wrong about this, I'm wrong. But I think most times, if somebody is doing something and they kind of copy somebody, more or less, if you ask permission and say, "Hey, listen, I had this epiphany. I did this. It looks like your part or your saber part. It looks like something you produced. Would you have a problem if I reproduce this? Would it be okay?
right.
Could I get your permission? Could I get your permission to do this?" And I think most people would say, "No, I don't have a problem. Just give me the credit for it. Say, I was the creator and you
Yeah, that's
copied
usually
this
how it
part of
goes.
it." Yeah,
That's usually
I
how it
tell
goes,
you,
unless you work out some sort of a deal or some sort of a sell off or something like that. Unless you buy the actual, idea, or if there's some kind of an agreement or an arrangement. It's like
right.
I,
Like
I
the
I think I
other,
think it's the greatest way to go. It's good.
yeah, a couple of weeks ago, I went and I asked Benji because I was looking for chassis videos, how to create chassis through Fusion,
Yeah.
and and Jeremy and Benji, have some wonderful videos. And so
Right.
I reached out to Benji and Jeremy on here, and I asked him, would it be okay if I downloaded these videos to
Right. Yeah.
watch
We were
and
talking about that
rewatch?
last week. Yeah.
Yeah, so that I could watch and rewatch and keep
Right.
going with that,
Well,
so
that's the
that I
point.
can eventually learn. I want to
Right.
learn that stuff, and I give full credit to Benji and Jeremy for doing these videos that
Hmm.
I can learn from, and anybody can
Right.
learn from them. And if you're going to download it, but hey, email them or text them or ask them on Facebook and say, hey, would it be okay that I download your video so that I don't have to worry about if it takes off, I can still watch
Hmm.
it, on my end without it being taken down. So if you know That way I can
Yep.
keep learning from it if something happens where it's not available on the internet anymore. And
Yep.
Benji said,
That's
"Yeah,
right.
by all means, dude. Just you give me credit anyway. Go for it, dude. I don't have a problem with it."
Hmm.
And that's all it takes. That's all it takes is permission and give credit where credit is due. I mean, that's all it is.
Yep.
And so from there, boys and girls, so I'm gonna call it a night because I'm getting like super tired now. We took my daughter to the airport at 3 o'clock in the morning, so like
I'm
I'm getting a
busy all
little.
day working on the Tron disc, man. So it's like I'm trying to get that thing buttoned up.
Oh, I love those things, man. So remember,
Oh,
boys and girls, to
it's gonna be
like
cool.
and subscribe. Oh, it's going to be awesome. Like and subscribe, and especially to James at Mountain Sabers. He creates some freaking awesome sound files, awesome content, awesome parts. Just different things for the Saber community. He does just awesome stuff. And if you haven't heard some of his music either, I highly recommend some of his music, man. Uh, so I enjoy listening to some of his albums there, and as a matter of fact, I'm trying to find some of John Santos's albums to get and to listen to.
Nice.
Again, make sure you do like and subscribe to Civilized Sabers. Say, what's up to Anthony and Gabe. Unfortunately, Harris has passed on, and I want to thank Harris, for the contribution that he provided, the entertainment that he provided as one of the original three amigos for Saber Talk. And I hope that I do justice to him in taking the reins, as Anthony has instilled confidence in me. I want to make sure that you guys are enjoyable for watching us, and I invite anybody, whether you're pro, not pro, intermediate, come and talk with us, have fun with us.
Oh yeah.
Um, and again, Barris, like and subscribe to Barris. I think he's on Instagram as well. With that, amigos, I'm gonna get banned out here in just a minute if I can find it. My
Cool, man.
goodness, too many.
Peace out. See you later, guys.
And, and again, for those of you who hopefully had a great Father's Day, and I had a great one, had a great cup from my wife, great shirt, and other stuff that my kids got me. Oh man, I can't say. I just love the fact that everybody is comes and hangs out with us on Sundays. Thank you so much. It means a
And
lot to me.
Mo, Mo. I just want to respond to Mo. Yeah, I'm gonna try and figure out about the brass and copper blade adapters. I have to decide because each hilt is pretty much different, so I have to go with some accurate measurements. But I'm probably gonna stay around the same, same measurement. So message me or email me on that. All
For
right,
sure,
peace.
Mo. For sure. Peace, guys. Love y'all.
See you later.
Mundo out. The wife said, "Peace, love, and happiness."
Peace.